Hi everyone, and welcome to the second part of our Android note taker application tutorial. In the first part we reached this point that we had ability to save the notes. So we had this main activity, the main screen of our application. We added these menus and we added this icon, which if you click on it we go into saving note mode, and here we can write our note title and content and save it. And because this is a new emulator, so I think the last note that I saved here is not there anymore, so I have to make a new one. So let's quickly say, so it is a note. And the content will, for now, will be just blah blah blah. Okay, and when we save this, we get this nice message that says our note is saved. Then we get back to the main activity. And here we continue our work from last tutorial. So we kind of expect to see a kind of a list of notes that we have saved previously. So for example, our note that we just saved should pop up here, and we should see the title or a little bit of the content. And if we have more than one note, then they will be like 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, and any something like that. And to do that, we need to implement a kind of a list view, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So first of all, we need to go to our layouts, resources. So I'm going to the resource folder of our application in the layouts, and let's see what we have in the main activity. So we put the list view here. From last time, it's just an empty list view. And if you see the text mode, just we only have a linear layout here and a list view, and we have an ID for it. And now what we need is to have a kind of representation of this list view. So we go to the layout, we add a new layout resource file, and I don't know what to name it for now, but we can just simply name it. I would like to start the name with items, item underscore, for example, item note. Okay. And here we just add like 2 or 3 text boxes. I think it's quicker to do it through the text mode. So first of all, I need to change this to vertical. It's already vertical, good. And let's start here. The text view, and match parent for the both width and height, and let's give it an ID, of course, a new ID, and ID will be just a nice quick thing to catch. So list underscore yeah, list underscore note title, for example. And we want the title to be bigger than the preview of the content, so we make the text appearance, as the English guys say it. Appearance will be from Android. We just use the internal kind of style. So I think it's from attributes. No, I think it's like this Android attributes, right? Okay, and text appearance, let's go with large here. And I just quickly copy paste this 3 times. Okay, this one and this one. So this one will be, for example, the note date, and this will be note content. Okay, and the date shouldn't be large. You can make it just small, and let's make the content medium. Okay, and let's see what we did in the design mode. Oh. Oh. Vertical, match parent, match parent. Oh, I think we have to make them wrap content. Oh. Wrap content, and for all of them, the width and height should be wrap content. Okay. And because we don't have a default text, we just give them default text so we can see them. Text will be title, so we can have a preview on the designer. Text will be date. Now let's say it's like 11/11/2011. I don't know what I did in that day, in that year, but anyway. Text. This is preview. Okay, now we should see something in the here. Okay, so in the main activity, then we kind of will have this list here like this, but it will be populated like this: title and the date and the preview of the content. Having that, then we go back to the main activity, and here we already had defined the ListView member. So let me think a little bit what we have to do. Okay, so I think the best place to populate this ListView is when the application is on resume. Okay, because if you have seen the diagram for the Android activity lifecycle, on resume it's always called when you switch to an application and everything goes up. So I'm going to override on, again, I'm pressing Ctrl O for the methods to override. So I'm looking for on resume, not on post resume, but on resume itself. So, okay, it's here. And here, you give this ListView node. Let's rename it to, I think it's fine. Then, the list views kind of work with a concept called adapters. So, first of all, we need to set the adapter to null, because at the moment we have no adapter. And the next step will be to implement this node adapter for this list view of the nodes. So I'm going back to the projects folder, going to the source folders, and here I will add a new Java class, and I will call it node adapter. Okay. Okay. So I think this class should be extended from array adapter. So we're gonna extend this from array adapter, not the array list. And adapter is going to be used for nodes. So if you remember, we have this node class. So this will be a holder for this node, for the nodes. And we have to implement the constructors to match the superclass or the parent of this array adapter that we are going to make. Okay, I don't know which of this. I think we only need one of the. So let's have a look to all of them and see which arguments they get. Okay, we need the one with three arguments. Okay, context, resource ID, and object of type T. Okay, we need this one. Okay, then we're gonna again override some methods here. Get view. Okay, we need the get view, and this get view will give us a kind of a series of arguments. So first of all, we need to check if the convert view that we are getting is being passed to this method is null or not. If convert view equals null, Then we have to build it ourselves. Convert view equals, then we have to use the layout inflator, and from the context that we are in, then we're gonna inflate or the layout file for file for the nodes that we had. Okay, so it will be r.layout item nodes. Okay, and it requires a second parameter, and we can just pass null at this point because we are not doing very advanced stuff. And we have some error here. Let's see. And of course, because we have this return statement here, we are not going to reach to this point ever. So let's comment this, and it's fine. Then we're gonna put each node that we get into a position in the list view. So we make a node, and we get the item from the position. Then we check if the node is null or not. So if it's not null, we just continue building up this list view. So here, if you remember, we had 3 text views with different IDs. Okay, list node title, list node date, and list node content. Okay, so let's go back here. So we need a kind of a reference to these 3 text views. Going to quickly make them. Text view title equals, let's first import this text view class, and let's cast it before finding the ID. So we use the convert view to find the view by ID, and r.id.node list node title. This is for our title, and I'm quickly going to copy paste this title, date, and content, list node date, and list node content. Okay, and here we set the title text from the node item that is somehow magically is being passed to this adapter. So we populate the title with the node.getText, get title. Yeah, if you remember, our node item had some methods like get title, get content, and get date time. Okay, and we also set date text view. Okay, date set text. And we again gonna use the node that get datetime for method. So if you remember again, we had this method here that we will return as a formatted text in this format from the milliseconds that we had created the node at that point of time. Okay, and let's see if it expects us to give it a format. No, the context. Okay, get context. I don't know why we put the context here. Probably because we used it in the utilities class, but anyway, doesn't matter. And that's it. And we just simply return at the end convert view. Okay, so we are done with the node adapter. Maybe we have to revisit it later, because I think we forgot to assign something to the content text view. So set text, then we get the content from from the note item that is passed to us. So we say note.get content. But we have to later to edit this, because if it's a long content, then it will take a lot of space in the list view. So we kind of need to substring it with like the first few words of the content. So let's do it now. So let's do like this. So we check if the note.get content, the length of the text is bigger than, for example, I don't know, 50 characters. We then set text for the content text view, get content, then we just substring it from the first character to the first 50 characters. Okay, so if we have a long kind of content in our node, it will not populate the whole area of the list view. Okay, and if it's not the case and the content is already short, we just simply just set it to anything it is. So note.get title, get content, excuse me. Okay, so let's go back to the main activity, and somehow we need to load our notes from the private storage area that we saved them. And this is kind of cumbersome, but if you bear with me, we're gonna overcome this problem. So we'll go back to the utilities class. So you see here we had a function to save the note on the private storage area. So we kind of need to do the reverse mode of this to load the notes. Okay, so let's start. So let's name this method with should be of type static, because we have we are creating a static class here, and let's return a list of nodes. So the return type of this function will be of type array list of nodes. Okay, and let's name this get all saved nodes. Okay, and we for sure need a context. Okay, so let's so we just need to kind of do the reverse thing of what we did for the save, but there's some tricks here. So first of all, we need the empty array list. So I'm going to make a new array list of type node, and let's call it nodes, and equals new array list of type nodes. Okay, and we need to again get where the files are being saved. So for that we need a file object, and let's name it files dir. So, and we get it from the context simply by saying get files dir for the directory. And let's import the file class, and we need also another list for the files that are the files that we have saved. Okay, so let's make a new array list of a string and let's just name it node files. Okay, let's make it instantiated. Okay, then we simply go over all the files in the folder, and if they are ended with .bin extension, then we know that they are node files. Okay, so let's have a loop over them. So we can say for string file in files dir dot list, and we check if file that the name of the file ends with file extension or .bin, and if that's the case, we add it to this array list. Okay, and say node files that add file, and if it's not a bin file, then we just don't do anything with it. Okay, now that we have the list of the files, then we have to individually load back or deserialize those files back to a node. So for that we need again the opposing thing that we did in the save node. So we had here file output stream, then now we need file input stream. For the save we needed object output stream, and now we need object input stream. So let's create those quickly. File input stream, FIS, it's a funny name, and object output stream, object input stream, excuse me, OIS. I find it easier to name them like this. Okay, then we go for all the items in this list. So let's make a for loop this time. For int I equals 0, I smaller than the node files that size, number of elements in the array list that we had, then I++, just a simple loop. Okay, and we need for sure a try catch block, because it's IO operation, and IO operations always tend to fail. So catch IO exception. And the other thing that can fail during this operation is class not found exception, because if the node class is not being found, then the object input stream cannot cast back the content of the file to a node class, node object. So we kind of need to catch both of these exceptions. Class not found exception, and we name them E, and we return a null object. Let's see what is wrong with this. Okay, because we have nothing here. Okay, return null, and before that let's print the stack trace so we can see what's going on in the debugger. Okay, so then we instantiate this FIS and OIS objects. FIS equals context that open file input, and node files that get at index I. Okay, and the object input stream will be a new object, and we pass this file input stream to this. Okay, then in the array list of the nodes that we had up here, we just add a new member, a new item to this list, and it will be the object input stream that read object, and it should be casted to node. Otherwise it doesn't have any clue that what is the type of the object. So we do it like this. Okay, and as always, don't forget to close the streams. Always close the file input stream, and we close the output input stream, and this goes forever until we have covered all the files and convert them back to the to a node object. So I think we are done here. If nothing is wrong, then no, of course we are not done, because at the end we have to return this notes. Okay, return notes. Okay, now everything is happy and the compiler is happy again. So let's go back to main activity, and here on the onResume we have to get this array list of nodes. Then we call just this method that we already made in the utilities class, get all saved nodes, and for the context we just pass, I don't know, this, because it's kind of funny, because in Android activities and context are basically the same thing in most areas. Okay, then I think it's okay. And we check if we had any nodes, because remember in the in here, if something is going wrong, then we return null. Okay, so we have to check it here in the main activity, otherwise we get a null reference exception. If nodes is not null, or there can be another case if we have no node at all. Okay, or nodes dot size equals 0, we do simply a toast and make text this, and the text will be you have no nodes saved, you have no saved nodes. Okay, and we show it, and we need to say toast.length, a short note to the user that they have no nodes. Okay, and after this we have to work with our node adapter. Let's return here because we have nothing else to do. But if we have nodes in our node array list that we get from this utilities class, then the real work starts here. Okay, can say no, sorry. Node adapter, just NA, not for North America, but for node adapter. Equals new node adapter. And remember, we had this constructor in this. We need to pass the context, which will be this, or otherwise you can say get context, get base context, or get application context, or this. They are the same thing, and we kind of need to tell it to which layout to fill out for us. Okay, remember this is the convert view that we had here. Okay. So for the convert view, we say r.layout node item node. Okay, and as the last parameter, we give it the objects that we just loaded from disk, which will be the nodes, and let's give it the nodes. Okay, and let's see what's wrong here. Okay. Oh, we had a problem here. And here we had this as array list of nodes. Okay, it's okay. So make sure to go back to the node adapter and change the last parameter of our constructor of this class to array list of nodes, and just call it objects or nodes, and here respectively nodes. Okay. Now I think as the last thing we have to set this adapter to the mListView nodes that adapters, okay, that set adapter, okay. So we just put it here, NA. Now if everything is right, we should see a list of nodes in our application's main activity. So let's try this. So let's see what we have in the node taker. Okay, seems that we have nothing. So let's see what where we had problem. Oh, I think I have to restart the application. Anyway, so let's see. Okay, it tells us that we have no saved node. So let's try to save another one. Our new node. Ha 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 ha. Okay, save it. You have no saved node. So let's see and figure out what is going wrong here. Okay. And obviously the error is here because we checked if it's not null, but we have to say if it's null, it should show us this message and return. So it should work now. Yes, we have all our nodes from the beginning of the time. Okay, okay, we have 3 nodes, and let's add a new node. Newest node ever. Okay, and let's make it a lot of characters, so to see if our shorting of the content works. Okay, works fine. So now that we have the list of the nodes, by clicking on them, nothing happens. So what is the next step? Is to if we click on this node, then we have to see it in a new activity, so we can read it, or we can delete it, or we can update it. Okay, so let's do that. So for that we need to go to our again in our node adapter here. So we have to make kind of a event handler for the nodes. So we can say, for example, ListView nodes. Then can set on item click listener. Then new adapter. I think it's already here. Okay, new adapter view. So if you press tab, it will complete the code for you, the Android Studio. It's nice of it. Okay. And so let's see. What we need. First of all, let's get the file name. Okay. File name equals list node views that get item at the position, get item at position, and we just pass it this position. And now that we had the we saved the files with their datetime. So we have to cast this to a node item. So first of all, we need to open 2 parentheses. The first one will be node, and this one will be here. And then we say get datetime, the one with the millisecond, the long version, and we need to add the extension to it. And the extension was in our utilities file extension. Okay, plus utilities dot file extension. So till here we have the name of the file. So we kind of need a method that loads a file and casts it to a node and gives it back to us. Okay, so let's go back to the utilities. Okay, so you see we have this method that returns all the nodes, but we need something that returns only one node and by the name of the node. Okay, so let's make this new method here, and it will just returns as a simple node, and let's call it get node by name. Okay, and we need of course the context, and we need the file name that we have created in our main activity for the event handler for the ListView string file name. Okay, so assuming that we have context and file name, let's make this method. Okay, so again we just do the same thing as we did for the get all saved nodes, but it's much simpler now. File equals new file and context that get files there, then the name of the file as a second argument, file name, sorry. Okay, then we have to check if the file exists. It's a safety check. The file will be for sure existing, but you never know what can go wrong. So if a file that exists, then we continue. Okay, so we need again this file input stream and file input stream and object input stream. Okay, then we again need this try catch block, IO exception, or class not found exception, E. So we just, if something goes wrong, we just print a stack trace and return a null object. So we can later check if this method was successful or not. Okay, return, if I can spell it right. Okay, so file input stream will be again context that open file input, and the file will be the file name, and the object input stream will be new object input stream, and we pass to it the file input stream. Okay, so we can say node equals, we precast it, object input stream dot read object. Okay, then we also need to close the streams as always. That close. Okay, now we have a function that can return us the nodes by their name. Okay, so here we just return the node, and if the file doesn't exist, we return we don't need this else statement here. Return null. Okay, so return node here. Okay, I think we have to declare it here, then do it like this. Okay, this way we can return the node object. Okay, let's go to the main activity again. So now we have the file name because we know where the user has clicked on the list view based on its position. We get the name of the file that represents that node at that position, and then we can load it. Well, I think it's better not to load the node here, but let's load the node in the activity that we are going to open when the node is being clicked. Okay, so for example, here I say a new intent. I create a new intent. I call it view node intent equals new intent. Get application context. And if you are wondering why I didn't use this, because we are inside the anonymous method. If I say this, then this will refer to this this function here. So either you want to create a member variable and set it on the onCreate, or just call the get application context function. And we want the node activity because we want to show node inside the node activity. Okay. Okay. And we're gonna add a new add some data. This is how you pass data between your activities. So we can say view node intent, this intent, put extra, and we give it a key node file, and the content will be the file name. Then later in the new activity that we go into, we can see what was the name of the file. Okay, and we just simply start this activity that we want to create. Okay, view node intent. Okay, so I think that should take care of it. And let's see if we have the facilities to show the node in the node activity. Okay, I think we have to set under in the onCreate. So here we need a variable or a member to hold the file name that you are getting from this in the main activity. If you are from here, because we are sending an extra piece of data to this node activity, so we need to store it somewhere. Private string node file name. Okay. And the onCreate, we can check if we have got anything in the bundle that created this activity. Okay, so we can mnode file name equals get intent, get a string extra, and we have to pass it the key that we named here, node file. So now we know that we got a file to be loaded and displayed in the node activity. Okay, so for that, first we check if we really got this or not. If is empty is no, I think it's a string that is that's for C#. Okay, we want to check if we actually got this file name. Okay, so if it's not null and if it's not empty, then what we do, we will load this node. Okay, so let's create another member, private node loaded node. Okay, because we are doing this because we are using the same activity for creating a new node to show also the previously created nodes. Okay, it sounds complicated, but I think you get the idea. Loaded node equals utilities that get node by name, and the name should be this. Okay, then we simply put the title and the content, get the title and the content of the node that is being loaded and put it in the text view for the title and the edit text for the title and the content. Okay, met title equals let's say loaded node, and before that we need to check if we really could load the node or not. If it's not null, okay, then we do this. Okay, if it's not null, then we say met title that set text, then loaded node that get title. Okay, et content that set text, same thing, loaded node that get content. Okay, now there's a difference between a new node and a node that is being loaded. Okay, so we need to pass the first argument of this as the context, so just say get application context, or simply this. Okay, because you remember our function in the utilities class requires these arguments. Okay, so now there's a contradiction here because we are using the same activity. If user wants to create a new node, he can also do it. He can easily do it. But if user clicks on an already saved node and comes to this activity, then there will be a contradiction between the creation time of the node. Okay, so in case we are loading the node here, then when we want to save it, okay, then we have two possibilities. Either it's a new node or it's already loaded node. So we can easily overcome this. So if we check if loaded node is null, then it means we user wanted to create a new node. Else, user didn't want to create a new node, but he wants to either view or edit already saved node. Okay, so the only difference will be the time, because we don't want to save the same node with two file names, because we are using the time as our file name. Okay, so for the node to be saved, we if the loaded node is not null, then we just pass this first argument from the get datetime of the old node. Okay, so that way the file name will be in sync with the node itself. Okay, and because we are inside these if statements, we cannot have the node here, so we have to create the node here, the node object here. Okay, so the node object that is being saved, then it will be either a new node or an existing node. And the difference is if it's a new node, we just get the current time of the phone, and if it's an already saved node, again we get the datetime of the node itself. Okay, I hope you understand this, but it's really easy to understand. Okay, so this should work fine. So let's try it, and if we didn't screw up, we should get the functionality that we need. Okay, I think it's here. Okay, so you see this this is our first node, Okay, so let's first make a new node with a new date time. Okay, so last node, and just some random text here. So you see the last node came here, and if we click on it, we go to the node activity, and as we planned, we loaded the node. And if you make any changes here, for example, adding some more exclamation mark, then the time shouldn't change. Okay, let's go back. So you see this is one as 20, 21, 13, 53. So let's replace this with question marks. 13:53. So the time didn't change. Okay. And there is one more thing left, and this is I think it should be how to delete a node. Okay. So for that we go to the we add a new icon to the toolbar here. Okay. And for that we need to go to the layout. I mean to the menus, menu node, and we create another item. Just copy paste this one, and we call it delete. Okay, an icon for it will be delete. This is already inside your Android phone. This we are just using the default icons. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so in the main activity we're going to view this node, so we can either save it, okay, or we can delete it, but at the moment the delete button doesn't do anything. Okay, so let's implement the delete function. So I'm going back to the node activity, and in the on options item selected, we add a new case r.id action node delete. Then we just say delete node. Okay, and let's create this method. And to delete a node, then again we have these two cases, that is it a new node or is it an already saved node? Okay, so we check with that with the mloaded node is null or not. If it's null, then it's a new node and user has never saved it. So in that case we just finish the activity, because if he doesn't want to save it, the deleting is same as going back to the main activity. Okay, and else, now it's a bit tricky here. We can just call utilities dot delete node, and let's pass the get application context, and the mloaded node dot get datetime plus utilities dot file extension. Okay, so this is the same as get node by name. This is delete node by name. Okay, so let's alt and enter. So create this method in the utilities class. So let's rename this, because under the studio puts very stupid names. Context, and the string file name. Okay, deleting files are much easier than saving them or loading them. So we just need the file directory. Dir equals context get files dir, and file, the file we want to delete, we want to access it like this: file, the directory, and the file name. Okay, then we check if the file actually exists. Okay, so we say if file that exists, then we can just say file that delete. That's all. You can delete a file just easily as that. Okay, so let's go back to our note activity. But, and a big but, not that kind of but another type of but. We need somehow to warn the user if he wants to really delete this file or not. So for that, we kind of need a dialog that has a yes or no button. It's really easy to do in Android. So we need to use alert dialog. It's a static one, so the builder, and we call it dialog equals dialog equals new alert dialog that builder, and the context will be this. Then we just set title of the dialog to are you sure, and set the message you are about to delete. Then let's say the title of the node, mloaded node that, or better than that is the to get it directly from the text edit text, that get text, that to string. Are you sure? And because we said already are you sure there, so the title of the dialog will be just delete. Okay, then the interesting part is here. We need two buttons for it, positive and negative. Set positive button, let's call it yes, and if the user clicks on this button, we just fire this event, new dialog interface, if I can find it. Okay, if you hit enter, it will complete it for you. So then we want to delete the file. Okay, so we move this inside this event handler for the yes button of our dialog. Okay, and after we deleted the node, we just make a toast, get application context, node was deleted. Or let's bring the title back, plus is deleted. Okay, then let's call the show, and again I forgot this to put the length for the toast, short, no, toast.length short. Okay, and let's just exit the activity. Okay, and finally let's set a negative button, and if user presses no, he just stays here. So because we don't want to handle this no case, we just set it to null, the event handler. For example, for here we had this event handler for the positive button, and for the negative button or the no button, we just say do nothing. Okay, and we want to make this dialog to be not cancelable. So if the user clicks on somewhere out of the dialog, nothing should happen. Okay, set cancelable false. Okay, and at the end we just show the dialog. Okay, dialog.show. Okay. Well, this video is already about to be 1 hour, so I have to make it quick. I think this is the last thing we want to do in this video, but let's try it. Okay, so let's check this one. This is our first node, blah blah blah. So let's hope that the delete works. Okay, this is our dialog, and because it's not cancelable, if I click outside the dialog, nothing happens. So I have to choose between yes and no. So if I say no, we just return here. If I say yes, the node is deleted and we went back to the main activity. So for the sake of having some fun, let's delete all these nodes. And yeah, that's all. So guys, we are almost done with this tutorial, but there are some few things that we can still do to make this application ever more practical. And the most important of them is the, beside the look of the program, that is up to you how do you want to design the look of the program, make it some beautiful backgrounds and stuff. It's up to you, but from the at least from the user input validation, just take into account this case. For example, if I write a title and I save it, it will be saved, okay? But that's usually not what you want to do. Or even if I just don't write anything and save, it will be saved, okay? So that's a big problem. I think you want to avoid these cases, so let me delete this. And for sake of completeness, I will just show you one example. For example, if you want to save a node and the user hasn't entered anything, so what we can do in that case is to check if the text box for the title, the edit text for the title and the edit text for the content contain anything. So we can easily do that by going to the node activity and in the save node function. So okay, so it simply is like checking if the string is empty or not. So we say if, for example, et title get text to string that is empty, trimmed because we want to avoid white spaces as well, is empty. Or if the title or the content are empty, then we just don't save the node, okay? And we will let the user know about it. So that is for the title here, and this one should be content. And we can just here say toast that make text the context this, and we can say please enter a title and content, and length short that show, and just simply return from this function without saving the node. So let's try this. Okay, let's go back to the main menu, add a new node, and I want to save. You see, it says please enter a node, title or content, okay? Also, you can do some other stuff. For example, if user has loaded a node and he made some changes to the loaded node and he didn't save it, so you want to show another dialog to say, okay, are you sure you don't want to update the node or not? Okay, but have no fear, because I'm going to end the tutorial here for this application, but you can find the full source code of the application with a lot of extra features and user input validations in my GitHub. I will post the link to the my GitHub account on the video description. So for example, you can see all the source files, and you can see that the node activity that I have in my GitHub repository is much more advanced. I have taken care of a lot of cases that can happen by the users. And I have anywhere it's possible, I have commented everything so you can understand the code quite on your own. Anyway, I think I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and until the next application, I have to say goodbye.